There's Chip. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Tech Commute. Obviously, I am your host, Jason, with my co host here, Chip, who will be in and out of the stream. But we are so honored to finally, and we were talking about this before, like we've never actually met. We've seen each other and we feel like we know each other. Finally get to know her in person, Pauline Narvas, the wonderful Pauline Narvas, who is now what? You just got a promotion. I was going to say
I
your old
did.
title, but give us your new title. Give us a wonderful introduction to yourself without further ado, Pauline.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see everyone and just be invited again to another talk community
Yeah, you're everywhere.
stream. I could yap on about communities and just generally yap. So this is really great. So thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely.
So for those who don't know me, I'm Pauline Narvas, and I currently am a senior manager in the community team here at Vercel, and I've mostly been in the I've been in the tech world now, I realize, like 8 years coming up, I think, this year. And I've mostly been working in like community building, technical community building in the last 4 years. I've also been an engineer in the early stages of my career. But fun fact, I studied biomedical sciences with the hope of going into healthcare when I first got into university and was graduating. So I pivoted.
Oh,
And yeah.
wow. Okay, so kind of a pivot, a little bit of a pivot there. I do see the University of Sheffield, correct? Biomedical
Yes.
sciences there. That is awesome. I went through your, which I've got it here. Let me pop this over here for everybody to go check out your personal page. Great blog, great timeline. I love the way this is written too. Um,
Thank you.
let's let's talk about that transition. Like quite the swing. So where did that decision come from?
That's a great. Oh my gosh, where do I begin?
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, for me, when I was I don't know 8 years old, I went on my parents' computer because there was nothing else for me to do at the time, and I started playing a online game. And I really, really loved it. And I was like, hey, I want to make edits to this game. How do you build a game? So then I ended up going into, this was early stages of the internet, searching on how to create video games. And then I ended up checking out all of these like ways to build a game. And one of the things that I figured out was that video game this game I was playing was hosted online, like on a web page. So then I was like, okay, for me to build the game, I need to know how to build a website. So then I ended up building a website from like HTML, CSS, and a bit of JavaScript. But even then, it was just bare bones, index.html. And I just, at the time, because I didn't know how to make it dynamic, it was like I used to draw pictures that I scanned because my dad had a scanner. And I'd scan the picture,
Ooh.
put it on like paint, and then add some color, and also eventually ended up on Paint Shop Pro and all of these other image editing like software. And then I got that picture and then I put it on the website, and it was literally just, it became like a diary of all of the ideas I had for this game. But I never built this game. It was literally just a web page with ideas of my game. And so that was my first like exposure to tech. And as I was going into university, my kind of like my parents were like, oh, the best kind of job you should go into is in healthcare because it's stable, you're guaranteed a job, you should like stick to that, or become a lawyer or be an English teacher or something,
Mm.
like do something in that kind of space. But yeah, so then I just chose science. Mostly, I mean, I still find science and my degree very interesting. Like whenever there is an interesting paper that comes up, like that is shared around on social media, or my friend sends me, I like reading them because that's what I did for most of my degree: read research papers about random scientific experiments that were going on. But yeah, so I kind of just went into that space because my parents kind of pushed me into science and something a bit more stable. But I always loved tech. So as I was building that website, like I said, for this game, I continued blogging on the side, and this was early stages of blogging. This
Mm,
isn't marketing kind of blogging. It was like literally, dear internet,
yeah.
today I went on a walk and I saw this. That was kind of that's kind of the internet I grew up with. That was the blogging world I grew up with. And then yeah,
Yeah.
eventually I found a community, a tech community, which I had the privilege of leading in Sheffield, where I grew up. And it was a women in tech community that introduced me to the
That
world
was
of
Code
tech.
First Girls.
Yes, yes,
Code First Girls.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I definitely want you to talk about that too, because it looks like through that, you really like kind of discovered community. Yeah.
yes, 100%. Like it was the place where I didn't realize that you could code with other people because up until this point I've been coding by myself in my
Oh, yeah.
room. And so when I found this community and they were telling me, "Oh yeah, you can collaborate with other people. Like there's this thing called Git. So you commit your code to GitHub, and then someone else can also create a branch based on the code you wrote." And it was so great. I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then I think that's where I really found out like tech education and tech communities were the place I wanted to be in. It was honestly a golden era for me. I love that era. Building with Code First Girls, building communities, helping women get into tech, and then seeing them thrive to then get software engineer roles in amazing companies. I loved it. It really brought me to life.
Oh, wow. What a journey. I love that too. Like anybody that references early internet, you were like a blogging pioneer, really. If you think about it, like what you were doing was blogging before it was that. Like you
Yes.
were doing that.
And it
You
was
know,
really fun as well because like back then, like the community of other bloggers I found were also women of my age. Like we were
oh,
all super young that just ended up finding each other on like the internet somehow. I don't even remember. It must have been like someone left a comment on my blog and then I checked their blog and then I found people who commented on their blog and then we all became this like community and I still talk to a couple of them. Like from early
oh,
days that I
I
grew
love
up
that.
essentially.
I love that. I honestly, that's one of the most important things. I was literally just writing about that in a CFP that I submitted, and I got an opportunity to fix a couple things, which again is a huge blessing. And you don't say no to that. But one of the things I was talking about is like building a community of authentic relationships, but maintaining it. And I think you saying that you still talk to some of these people like is a real testament to like that, being able to keep those relationships and stay in touch with them. And I'm personally terrible at doing that, but it seems like you're really good at that. So maybe do you have like maybe a couple little like tips as far as how you maintain those types of relationships over the years with so much going on in life?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think like so a couple of years ago, I'd met somebody like who I became quite close friends with, but they aren't in tech. And I remember we were having coffee, and they were like, I was on my phone like in between we were talking and then the conversation would like kind of fade a little bit, so I'd just pick up my phone and I would go through and just reply, and she was like, what are you doing on your phone? You're so quick at like responding to people. And I was like, yeah, I actually try my best to stay on top of every single interaction, and I've had this kind of value for as long as I can remember, where essentially for me it's every interaction you have counts. And that is, it doesn't matter if
Mm.
it's like them liking your post or them like I don't know, replying with just a gif or gif or whatever you call it under a tweet. It's like every single one of
You
those
said it right the first
interactions
time. It was
matters.
fine.
Was it gif? Was it gif?
Yeah,
And so
I say
I
GIF. I'm sure we'll have the detractors, but
yeah, the comments, the chat will be like, ah.
Yeah.
GIF. This is where we have a divide now. No, so I literally respond to every single message I've ever received across platforms, and I've just been doing that for the last couple of years. Maybe I just got very good at it, um and now it's kind of second nature. But from specifically from like my early blogging days, I still stay in touch with like the people I got very close to back then, mostly just from like social media. I am that person that will watch stories or Instagram stories of my friends from all over the world that I've met online and in real life, and I will be that person that's like, that is such a cool view, or that is great that you're doing that. And even if it's like low energy of just me being like, oh, that's really cool, I will send them a fire emoji. I am that person that just wants to interact to keep that fire alive. And that's not like an everyday thing. It can just be like every couple of weeks, just checking in. And that's kind of
Mhm.
how I've been able to maintain those relationships. And I think like working in community as well, I've gotten very good at like recognizing people's like usernames, their pictures, and I think it's kind of just a muscle I've been able to um, improve on over the last couple of years, and now it's second nature to me. And I try and
Wow,
keep up with
that's crazy.
everyone as much as I can.
No, no, it's honestly a really special skill to be able to do that. And it's hard. It is hard. Like sometimes people have to make a really concerted effort to do it. I personally am one of those people. And it's not that I don't want to. It's just, again, the mind works but so differently. I like that you said every every interaction has something, and you're moving the needle with every like movement, every action, everything we're doing. And it's like, yeah, I mean, making that outreach to people can be so important. Like, even just for a second, you can impact somebody positively. I definitely
100%.
love that. What
Yeah.
what do you think as far as like the takeaways from going from like more medicine and biomedical science to now, like what are maybe some of the transferable skills that you're seeing that you're really using in these community building situations, if anything?
Um,
I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, sometimes it's not, but
No, I'm actually super big on like transferable skills. I had a really great mentor back at university who taught me the word transferable skills, and she literally said to me,
mm,
because I was working in like retail back then. I used to work at a game shop, at several a shoe shop, also a retailer. And I had multiple part-time jobs, and she kept telling me like,
nice.
I know it might feel like a waste of time, but all of these skills that you gain from this from your jobs will like take you so far. You just
Hmm.
need to learn how to market them. And so from a biomedical science perspective, one of the things I did a lot of was research and like digging deep on the research and getting to the
Mm,
conclusions, getting to the evidence. And I think I'm very good at that now, like in my work, especially when I got my first community role at my previous company, where I specifically did a lot of like digging deep, researching, figuring out what platforms to use for community, figuring out the best kind of solutions for community members coming into our, like at the time, Discord community. And yeah, did a lot of like research on that, and I think that was one of the best skills I got from that degree, because I really needed to learn how to do that research, especially because I was given no playbook, and I started doing this full time in
mm,
2021, when there wasn't like no one was really doing this. Like I knew of some people
yeah.
doing more like DevRel work, but not really like community building. And so like it was almost as if the community building stuff was like a kind of a side thing that happened as a result of doing more DevRel type things. And so no one had
Mm,
like a playbook. And I just kind of, I needed to learn, I needed to research, I needed to be able to like dig deep. And I think that's one of the main things I got from my degree. And obviously communication, like it's just so important to be able to talk to your community members, not just like written, but also jumping on calls with them, doing these live streams, connecting with your audience, with your community. And I think I got a really good practice from my degree and all of the part-time jobs I had, because I had to talk to a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, and it's
That
it's part
that
of
was the one
community.
I was thinking. Yeah, that was honestly when you said retail, I was like, boom, that's it right there because all of that interaction, like constantly with people, especially like face to face. That's such a good like customer service skills are such a transferable skill. Again, when you're interacting with people. Um, wow, yeah. Are you? You mentioned research. Are you a docs girl? You get heavy into the documentation. Is that
Oh,
something you look forward to at an
yes,
org?
I really like I don't know if it shows because I blog a lot, and I think I so I joke about this all the time, but my blog Pauline.com, it literally has all of my thoughts from over the last couple of years, and you can find some like a thought I've had about university, about tips, about interviews, everything. I've written it all down. And so in my previous role, we adopted a lot of like inspiration of ways of working from GitLab. And GitLab is like, I always reference them because I just love the company. I love the people that work there, but they are like number one. They're the number one people I like go to for like North Star of best documentation ever, because they have documented their whole
Oh,
workflow, how they work, how they run their Slack, how they run their communities, how they everything is written down, and I absolutely just love it. And so when I came to Vercel, I was like, okay, how can we up our internal docs? How can we make sure we create these workflows that when new people join the company, they're like, oh yeah, I'll just read these docs, and if I have extra questions, I will, reach out, and improve that workflow. But yeah, I love docs, and I love everything written down. Like, it's
Richard
great.
here is saying justice for docs. He's our technical writer guy, community tech doc guy. So he's a huge advocate for documentation as well. So important though. I mean, because again, it's like it's the Bible, if you will, of everything that's working. So if they're not good, they're not understandable. I just had a conversation with Tejas about the docs over at DataStax because for a new user to adopt their Langflow program, it was like we could not figure out how to use the product. It was me and Ryan Fuhrer, who Chris Nowicki. All three of us could not figure it out. So I was like, okay, and both of them are way smarter than I am. Like this is clearly something maybe with the documentation is lacking. So I had a really good conversation with Tejas. He was great with the feedback, but again, it's a testament to how important those are. Um, you mentioned, and it was GitLab. You said
Yes,
that has like
GitLab. Yes.
that's your upper epsilon. What were
100%.
some of the things that like running the Discord or setting up a Slack? Like, what were some of these really high level things that they were doing that you kind of brought with you over to Vercel to sort of build off of that other people that are doing it could kind of emulate?
I think like Vercel was already doing an amazing job internally, but
Mm.
definitely documenting. One thing that kind of didn't really exist in the community team was, firstly, like before I joined Vercel, the community team was my incredible colleague Amy Egan. It was just her.
Oh, shout out to
So
Amy.
yeah, shout out to Amy. She was fantastic and just great to work with. And so because it was just her, I guess she didn't really need to document like how to do things, because she would just do them. And so as part of like when I came in, one of the things I really wanted to build out was internal community docs. So that's like, what do we do if someone is in our community space and we needed to, they broke the code of conduct? What do we do then? These are the steps. Or when we want
Mm.
to create a stream to do some community engagement, what are the steps to have the best community experience? It's not just logistics, but also like things that we should mention in the stream. Like I try to make it as easy as possible that every single time we're about to go live, we have a list of things that we're like, okay, check, 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 done. And so that's kind of something I brought
Oh,
into Vercel. We have it's a growing database now of internal docs for the community team that literally describes every single workflow that we do in the team. And I'm super proud of that. Obviously, there's a lot of things we can still improve on, but that is something that I brought with me from GitLab, this sense of single source of truth. So we have to have one single source of truth,
yeah,
so that if any of us like are off for the day and someone else from the other side of the org needs to I don't know, run a stream, or I don't know, help block somebody, it's all written down. And so people
yeah,
can just look at that and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. So there's not like that friction of being like, oh no, what do? We can't do it without this person. So GitLab was really great for that. But I would have to say the thing that really blew my mind with GitLab, and this is so simple, but threaded conversations on Slack. Vercel will already do this very well, but in my first
oh,
company, sorry, in my a couple of companies ago, I was working for a big enterprise as an engineer, and no one did that. It was just a free for all. Can you imagine a huge Slack like with no threads?
ah.
It's just free
I
for all.
threw. I just. You made me throw up a little bit. You made me throw up a little bit. I was even thinking about that. Well,
Yeah.
God. Oh wow, that's I love that. You gotta let me maybe take a peek at these internal community docs you got going
Of
there
course.
over at Vercel. I love that. That would be a great collaboration opportunity because one of the biggest models for community that we look at Torque is Vercel. Is what you and Cap and Amy are putting together. I mean, it's like the model for what we're trying to do. What when you look at other communities that are similar in the sense of what you guys are doing, like what are what are some of the things that you see that are again just super important right out of the gate? What are the most important things that these communities of developers should be looking to facilitate for the developer,
I
if that
think,
made
oh,
any
I
sense?
could.
I feel like I said developer a lot.
Developers.
Yeah,
No,
developer.
yeah, you know which one I mean.
Yeah.
So for this, I think like, so I could go back to my old like my previous company, because so I would say like at my previous company at GitPod, I set up the community from scratch. There was no community there, and that was my challenge. It was very fun. Had a very fun like month. Like my first month at GitPod was kind of insane because I was like, first time doing community work professionally, and I am just gonna go and set up some workflows and hope for the best. But I think like with that community, one thing that I looked at when studying other communities was the love that developers had for the product. And
Ooh.
they were so obsessed with it to the point where I'm like, why are they obsessed with it? And like, how can we get that love for that tool and replicate that across the community, across our users, across our customers? How do we create more of that? And so I experimented a lot. And Gitpod at the time was um, I think it was we only just had our seed round at that point, and
Mm.
so it was a very very early stage open source like company. And so a lot of the things that we did was experimenting, like because I was the only community person, I was like, I'm gonna try this for a month, and if it doesn't like result in anything, then we drop it and we try another thing. But one of the most successful things I built there was the Gitpod Community Heroes program, which is essentially an ambassador program. And I took
Oh,
inspiration
yeah.
from GitHub. I'm talking a lot about like GitHub, GitLab, Gitpod, but GitHub,
Yeah.
I was I knew a couple of people that were part of the Campus Experts program back at
Mm.
university, and it did so well. So I wanted to build something like that. And so to get closer to the people that absolutely love the product already with no prompting, because they already saw the future of that tool. I just
Yeah.
approached them. I said, do you want to come and be part of this program? You get these benefits, but we're also building it from scratch. So if you want anything specifically from the team, let us know. Let's build it together. And we built this really great program, which I still like reference a lot in my conversations. I still go back to, and I see the community heroes still like doing stuff, even though I'm not there. It's like, that's the kind of magic that I wanted to continue to build. And at the end of the day, if you like zoom out and you ask yourself, why is this the thing? Why are they still contributing? Why do they still love the product and talk about it everywhere? And it just turns out like it's human, like they loved the connection that they have with the community, because every single member of that space was, we built a community culture where every single person in that space wanted to connect with other people, wanted to share their love for
Mm.
it, wanted to like advocate for it, because it wasn't just because of the list of benefits they had, but because they truly saw the future and the mission of the company. And honestly, especially those early days, it felt like once we got these community heroes, it felt like we had like 15 extra employees because of their advocacy,
Mm.
because of their
Hmm.
like love
Yeah.
for the product. And so like I think that's something that we definitely are wanting to build more of at Vercel. Although like at Vercel we have a lot of like I feel very fortunate to have joined a company where the community is already like alive, and it's like now it's all about like
Yeah.
managing the energies into specific
Yeah.
areas, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, I guess talking about the energies or again the communities, how do you wrangle that? Like, what are some of the things that you focus on to sort of harness that energy or that passion? Because that's something again as a baby community such as ourselves, when we see somebody like yourself with a larger community and doing it so well, like I obviously want to take notes. So, what are some of the things that you're moving forward with your community to, I don't know, but I guess divvy people up or share responsibility? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing a lot more of, you may have seen it, is these Vercel community sessions. Right now,
Mm.
our like main community platform is Vercel.community. It's a discourse forum where all of our customers and users and community go into and ask for support with their projects and basically find ways to be as successful as they can be using Vercel. And it's great because we have all these conversations of developers helping each other, like customers helping each other. It's fantastic. It becomes this like knowledge hub of like, where can I go to for help with this kind of topic? Like someone else did it this way, and self-serve kind of thing. But the thing we want to build on top of that existing foundation is like these human interactions where we literally bring community members on stage to share what they've built with Vercel, and also show all
Cool.
of the like tips and tricks that they've been doing to like, I don't know, build their first V0 app from an idea to an actual production app. And so one of the things that we're trying to highlight in the community right now is find those people who love Vercel already, who love our products, who go into the community every single day. They log in every day, help other people around the community, and grab those folks, channel their energies into like being on stage to share, to spread, to kind of give them that stage to highlight more of the things that they love to do, the things that they love to build, and kind of create that like snowball effect, because someone else will be watching them and be like, I want to be on
Mm.
stage next too. I want to
Hmm.
share my product idea or the thing I built on Vercel too. And then it kind of just snowballs from there. So that's something we've been experimenting with. I'm really proud of this like implementation, because we worked with the discourse folks to make it so that it's not just like a YouTube video that plays and we have like a YouTube what do you call it, chat. That's great too. We want to
Yeah. Oh,
distribute
yeah.
it everywhere, but we want to keep the whole community experience inside of our community platform. And so people will log in with their Vercel account, which they already have because they deploy on Vercel. And so the community is just an additional part of the product. And so they join that, and then they go into the
Hmm.
community, talk to us directly on the community. And if you join, actually, just quick shout out, on Friday, we have a very exciting V0 workshop with one of our community members, Flo. And she's going to run an incredible workshop on how to basically what I said, like create like ideas on V0 and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
publish it into Vercel, into a production app. And that whole experience lives inside the community platform. So as a user, you have a better experience because you're like, hey, I'm just like here. I am here in the Vercel ecosystem. I'm in the Vercel world because I just deployed something and now I'm in the community and I'm still logged in with my same account and I can just, communicate with the folks that are streaming. And we've done this now twice and it's doing really, really well. And we are kind of showcasing not just community members but also folks at Vercel, because there are so many talented folks at Vercel. We need to share their stories more. So I have been
There's so
yapping.
many. No, no, no. You're totally fine. I love it. And speaking of the discourse, everybody can, there's the link for that if you want to go check that out. But speaking of members that deploy, shout out to our own Torque community page, which is hosted over at the wonderful Vercel deployment hosting services. Shout out to that. It's so easy. I love that. I love that. Big fan of Vercel here. And speaking of community, we have so many people dropping into the chat here. Let's give a quick hello to, I saw Danny Thompson popped in. We've got Richard, Jeff, Elders here. I see a Jordan. Jordan's down there. Nice. Roxy's here. Great to see you. Everybody in the chat. Vlad's here. Great to see everybody. We're talking with Pauline, obviously of Vercel. What are maybe some of the community initiatives that didn't work that you've seen? Like
Ooh.
what's one that you just would never do again?
Oh, that's such a good question. You know what? I have to say, you are the first person that has ever asked me that.
Well, this is
Ever.
a precautionary tale, really, because again, like I'm using this as case study. So if there's something that you, being the pro community person that you are, I want to know, so I don't do it.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if this is a hot take though. It might be a hot take. I don't know. But okay. So, one thing so if I was going to build a community again from scratch, um I I would not use Discord as a platform. And I know people were gonna just spat his drink out. um,
No, no spit takes, no spit takes today.
yeah, okay, so hear me out on this one. I think, again, okay, firstly, I think it depends on the type of community you build. It depends. I'm seeing the chat. Everyone is shocked. But I think it really depends on the community you're trying to build. But like, I'm coming from a space of like from a developer tooling perspective. I personally wouldn't build on a community on Discord anymore because I find that, especially with the customers that we have, like at Vercel users, we want that content on Discord to be on Google. We want it to be searchable. We want people to like be able to just like jump into the platform and use the search bar and find what they're looking for. I think as well with Discord, personally, I feel like it's kind of like separated from the rest of the internet. And I don't know if anyone else knows what I
Mm,
mean, but it's so like separate that it feels like it's harder to bring the two kind of platforms, like whatever you're building, like your
mhm.
dev tool and then also Discord, like bringing them together. I find it very disjointed. And like with Gitpod, our community was actually on Discord, and I watched it go from being super active,
Mm,
especially in like post pandemic, like, or like still in the pandemic days. People were on it because everyone lived on Discord. But then I saw it slowly die off because people just weren't motivated to go into Discord and then see all of their servers and try to like go in and engage. Whereas if you go on like what we have now, a discourse community platform, it's just a lot more manageable. And as a community member, I'm more motivated to like go in, search for some stuff, and maybe check out some interesting discussions. And like
Hmm.
Reddit, Stack Overflow, those kinds of like asynchronous discussions, they have so much like a reputation of just being reliable compared to Discord. Again, like it's like one of those like tough things that when I go back and look at what my work at Gitpod, I'm like, oh, it's so hard for me to show the community I built because it's all hidden away in a Discord server that's locked.
Ah,
Do you know what I mean? Whereas like at
yeah.
Gitpod,
No,
we still did.
totally.
Do you know what I mean? I just saw the comments that someone said that they use Gitpod a lot in Drupal. Yeah, I worked with a Drupal contributor, Shao. Shout out to Shao, who's one of the community heroes. Actually, sorry, I just love those, love that community. But yeah, with Discord in particular, it was just like hidden away, if that makes sense. And for me, like if we just like zoom out and as a potential customer, as a prospect, as a user, like a potential user as well, I want to see what people are talking about. And if I have to go into Discord, there's this extra friction point where I'm like, well, okay, it's just all hidden away. Maybe, it's an overwhelming interface, it's all hidden away. Maybe it's dead. I don't know. I don't really care to check. Whereas when everything is out in the open, everything is public, it's just easier to like showcase your like community work. And so like if I was going to build a community all over again, I will not use Discord.
Wow. Okay. Okay. No, this is interesting, and I'm very very curious, and I'm gonna kind of deep dive discourse here because I love less friction points. I love having everything just all together. Um, wow. Okay. And I know you talked to Taylor about it too, and I love that somebody dropped in the chat here. Dang it! I told you to use discourse. He did not actually. He did not. His boneheaded idea was Discord. But that's fine. See, and this is why I'm asking these questions because
Yeah.
there's trial and error. And I love like building and learning in public so that other people can also learn from potential mistakes and potential wins. So I'm going to
Yeah,
have to look into that one.
I would say as well, it also depends because I'm also part of like local communities that only use WhatsApp. You know, the WhatsApp communities that launched like I think
Oh,
it was
yeah.
at the back end of last year. I've seen that thrive as well. But it really depends,
Hmm.
you know? So
I,
yeah.
I don't use WhatsApp like at all, so that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me to get on board with. I want to talk. I kind of want to talk about the in-person stuff because we see a
Yes.
lot of in-person Vercel events, and I love those. And I wish anybody would do one near me because I'm up in Western New York, but nobody ever does anything around here. But I want to know like how important those are for you. Obviously, Vercel's a huge, thriving virtual community. What's the importance of like these more intimate in person events?
That's a really great question. I have to say like I'm so bullish on in-person events because at the end of my time at Gitpod, I ran I think it was 35 in-person events in 12 months across Europe and also in America in partnership
Wow.
with a lot of our community members who, like I said, best community members you could ever ask for. They were so in it. They loved it. And yeah, so I love them. I think it's the best way to kind of bridge that like in person and like online communities together. And I just feel like with like with a in person community, at least you have like kind of a fallback to an online community whenever like there's not an event happening in their area. I think it's great to have a way like synergy between them. So at Vercel, we're doing a lot more of them. I wanted to give a shout out to Cap, who joined us a couple months ago, and she is like going all in with these in-person meetups. And actually, there is one this week if you happen to be in Amsterdam. I believe it's tomorrow actually, and she's hosting one there, and that should be really really fun. Um, so we're doing like the kind of TLDR is like we're starting them now at Vercel and expect to see more of them across, like on the internet, in person, and just hopefully close to you.
Well, I see Nick Taylor's here. Shout out to Nick Taylor talking about Montreal. That would be a great place for a pop up. See, that's something that I at Torque have decided that I wanted to start doing was more like pop up y type meetup collaborations. So maybe there is something in the cards for Vercel and Torque, maybe in New York City. I feel like they got some cool devs down there. When was I? Have you ever been to New York City?
I'm actually going next month, and I have been once. But I'm going to
There
New
you go.
York next month for 2 weeks, working from the Vercel office there and meeting as many tech dev tool folks there. So if you happen to be in New York next month, let me know.
You know what? We might actually have to try to pull something off then in at that time. We'll see. We'll talk after and we'll figure it out. What? Let's see. We talked about in person stuff. What do you think makes the most sense to do first when you join a community? Like, how do you make an instant splash? I think a lot of people come into communities and don't really know like where to begin. Like, what do I do here? What's going on? So, what are maybe some of the first steps for people to like dip their toe?
Are you talking about like creating that flow, or like as a
Oh
community
no, just
member
like new
joining?
members. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Joining new members. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I have, probably unsurprisingly at this point, I have like a playbook of how I would join as a community member in a
Yeah.
community I'm
Yeah.
interested in. And that's because, like, sorry, just needed to say, like, before I started working in community full time, I was part of like a handful of community programs and communities in general, especially during the pandemic. I wanted to give a shout out to the AWS Community Builders Program, which is where they have like a Slack,
Mhm.
and I spent like literally all day, every day in that Slack, reading my fellow community builders work, what they were building, finding inspiration from them so I can build my own thing for my own like projects, as a community builder, and create content off the back of that. And so I really like, if you're not part of a community, you should be. So
Yeah.
for me, whenever I join a new community, the very, very first thing I want to do is tell people I have arrived. So find the introductions, like, I don't know, post, and immediately intro yourself. Be like, hey, my name is whatever, and I am doing this, and I am here because. And then maybe flick through some of the other intros that you can see, engage with the latest ones, and be like, hey, that's interesting from blah blah blah, that you can see, and see if there's like any like potential connection there is, and then find the channels of whatever it is you're looking for. So for example, with the AWS Community Builders program that I was part of, I introed myself, and then the thing I wanted to improve on the most was how to create better content. Because I was building a lot of stuff on AWS, and I was like, how do I communicate this better to specific audiences? So I was looking for any channels that was like tips on how to create better content, or like marketing or developer relations type conversations, and I specifically went into those. And then in other communities, I was like, I want to host more online events, and I want to be part of them, and I want to be a speaker, and I want to engage with people through a stream. I would go to those channels and find the right people to speak to, share my introduction post with them, tell them how I can bring value to their stream, to whatever they were doing, and like really suss out the information I needed in the community. Because once I get that like value, the immediate value, I can go off and then contribute elsewhere, and I'll most likely keep coming back. So yeah, number one, intro yourself. I mean, some people visit like communities just to be a lurker, and that's okay too. But I feel like the way you like get the most out of these spaces is connecting with these people.
I am that lurker sometimes. There's a couple. There is a couple. If anybody has any questions for Pauline too, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We've got about 15 minutes left. You're going on almost a decade in tech. We talked about roughly. I would love to know what maybe some of your highs and your lows were in that journey, and maybe what some of the takeaways, like the lessons that they taught you, were.
Oh, that's such a, oh my God, you're a great interviewer. I feel like I could yak
I'm
on
just
that.
fucking winging this, by the way. It's
I
just
love
going with the
it.
flow.
I love that. So I guess I'd start with I'll start with the low and then I'll like end high, I guess. But
We all have them. We all have them.
I have to say, like in my career so far, the lowest low I felt in like yeah in my career has to be the day I got let go from Gitpod. I wrote about it on my blog. It happened last year, and it's like now it's been like 9 months or no 9 months 7 months no 8 months 8 months since that happened, and I still remember it sucking so badly because it's like with a role like community, it's like you get so invested in the people, and it was not just the community that I helped build and the people that were in the community, but also like my internal community with my colleagues and things like that. And I felt like Gitpod was one of the places I wanted to really finish, like kind of like no matter what happened, I wanted to be there until the end because I really
Mm,
believed in the tech, I really believed in the product, I really believed in the community and the team that we had. We were all like all in, and so it really sucks when these things happen, but like at the end of the day, it's like low-key the best thing that have ever happened to me in my career,
sure.
because since then it was like everything has just been like in I've described this before where I feel like I've been in a rocket ship. Like I left, like I kind of got off like a ship, like a ship from Gitpod, the Gitpod ship. And then I stepped into a rocket ship and I was like, oh
Nice.
my God, I didn't know we can go all the way up to the stars. That's how I felt. And so I feel like that was a really low point for me because I was like going through my head, like, what did I do wrong? What could have been better? Like, how could I have not let this happen? And I guess now, like I've been at Vercel for 7 to 8 months now. I've learned so much that I'm like, if I knew this, I would have done even better at Gitpod, but I wouldn't know it unless I got to
Yeah.
Vercel. So it was always that, like for me, that
Yeah.
it hurt, but it had to happen. So I would say that was low. But fun fact about like that before I move on, I got let go from Gitpod, and then the next day Vercel got in touch with me. So and then I signed like that week. So it kind of happened. It
Wow.
was like in the stars, like it had to happen.
Well,
Um,
sorry to interrupt you. So,
yes.
You had no like contact with Vercel prior to when
Oh
that happened, or had already had some conversations?
no, we've had some conversations. Like I have been following most of the Vercel team on Twitter,
Okay.
and we've had a couple of. I also like a couple of months before this happened, I spoke at Next.js Conf about Gitpod.
Hmm. Helpful.
So we already had a
Helpful.
touch point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think just like moving on to like the highest, like the best I've ever. Um, I would have to say the so in 2023 or 2024, no 2023, my CEO at Gitpod said we are going to organize a conference in person. It was the very first time I was organizing a conference from scratch, and he said the impossible challenge of doing it in a month, and the in-person event, the conference, was going to be hosted in San Francisco on the other side of the world where I've never been to. So I scrambled for a month. And it was one of the most stressed I've ever been. And I don't think I would do it again in that kind of timeline. But, you know,
Hmm.
startups have to do what they have to do. But for me, it was like one of the best projects I was put on, because I also emceed the conference and things went wrong in the conference. But I think that experience made me so resilient that, like, honestly, if tomorrow I have to create a conference, I would probably do it well because I had to go through that kind of experience to be able to be like who
Mm,
I am today, I guess. And so even though it wasn't like, it was kind of stressful, I still like refer to that as one of the best things I shipped, because we turned the whole thing around. It was like it did not exist, and then we had about like 60 people turn up in San Francisco in like a
wow.
space of a month, which is like insane, especially because I
Yeah.
wasn't super connected in SF back in the day. Now I would say now I am, but back then I did not know many people. So it was really, I was very impressed with the turnout. And so I would say that was like probably a top
Heck
achievement for
yeah.
me.
Heck yeah, that's
Mm.
oh man, that is awesome. I love that story. And again, like even the high, you have so many takeaways. It's like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this again, one, I'm not gonna do it in 30 days. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do like you can reflect on those things, but again, you can't look back and ever change any of it. Because like you said, if it wasn't for the Git pod situation, you never would have ended up at Vercel, where you wouldn't have learned
Mm.
all these amazing like things and skills. So I love that. That's such a journey. We've got this a couple minutes left here for you. We'll wrap up so you can get over to your next step in your very busy night that you're having. But thank you again so much for spending a little bit of time with us today. I usually wrap the pod up with this question, and it's Pauline, what does success look like to you?
Oh, gosh, what a great question. Um, what does success look like to me? Um, I honestly, what success looks like to me has to be being able to wake up and be so excited to do what you get to do like day in day out. And I have to say, like, before, even before Versailles, I had that opportunity. There were so many days like at Gitpod, when I first got to Gitpod, I felt like I'm doing like my dream role. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, because it's like, tech, building tech communities aside, return on investment aside, like, just remove all of that. The thing that I get to do is to connect with people and get to talk to
Yes.
people from all over the world. And when I wasn't at Gitpod and I was let go, I posted about my layoff, and the amount of people that showed up for me from over the years, of people I connected with, like even people I hadn't talked to in a couple of years, they showed up for me and shared my post, my resume, my blog, everything, everywhere. And suddenly I had literally never been so overwhelmed with the love I got from my personal community. And so for me, I felt so successful in that moment. And because I get to do what I'm doing now in community building, but also get to connect with the people that I have been able to build a relationship, even if it's just an online one, over the last couple of years. So I feel super successful in that. And for me, it's just like being able to do what you love to do, and your calling at the end of the day.
Oh, I love that. I haven't said this in a really long time, so I'm going to bring it out. It's about tech, and it's not about tech. Like that your story was so inspiring, and again, just knowing how much you do for people and then seeing them pay it forward, like, is a testament to the amount of positive effort you're putting out there. And when you get to see it back, that's really awesome. So you should be very proud of where you are today. And I think we
Thank
all look
you.
forward to seeing where you will be tomorrow and following that. And hopefully we get this torque for sale thing that we've been discussing figured out too in the
Coming
coming
soon for
months.
sure.
I think that'll be pretty exciting. Coming soon for sure. All right, where can we see you next? You mentioned a Friday stream on the Vercel Discourse, correct?
Yes, yes. So if you go over to Vercel.community, we have a upcoming stream on Friday with our community member Flo, and we will be talking to her about how she builds with V0 from idea to production, and it should be a good one. We've got quite a few people signed up for that one. And then after that, actually, this whole month of February, we're pretty much living in the Vercel.community space. Like at least once a week, we'll have a session up where we're talking to customers, talking to community members, talking to people who work at Vercel. So feel free to drop in there. And yeah, I will be there existing on the internet.
Pauline will be there existing at Vercel.community. You can find her on LinkedIn, Twitter. Go say hi, connect. Make sure you reach out. Don't just hit the connect button. Say hello. Make the connection. And join the Vercel community. Join the Tor community. You know where the Discord is, somewhere over there in the chat. Pauline, this has really been an honor talking to you, and we will talk again soon. Just hang out for a second, and we'll end it.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody that's down there. Big shout out to Ryan. I see Ryan made it. Great to see you. And remember, everyone, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Have a great rest of your Monday.